What's up everyone, welcome back for another hero guide, and this time I'm gonna talk about Megan. So, Megan is pretty interesting, but in my opinion, she is not early game because she requires a lot in order to deal some damage and be efficient during a fight. In my opinion, direct damage dealers are clearly not early game. You are gonna understand why. So let's talk about her. She is an attacker with the red mark and from the foresters. She is really interesting for endgame if you want to try to push the forester faction or the red mark. Let's talk about her kit. She is pretty unique in and mandatory almost if you want to play with a direct damage team thanks to her passive, because with her passive she gives a 12% crit rate to all your allies, which is pretty insane to increase your overall damage with your direct damage team, and this is what I am using. You are gonna see that in this video right after the hero introduction. Also, she is great. She is gonna do a lot of damage, direct damage, because she is gonna get high crit damage thanks to this buff on her. Every time she's gonna kill an enemy, she is gonna get 1 layer of low, and it's gonna increase 20% of her crit damage per layer of low up to 100% crit damage bonus. If you have the first exclusive, it's gonna be better against bosses because she will be able to get 1 layer of low at the end of her turn, and otherwise if you want to play her against the guild boss without the first exclusive, she is not gonna be efficient because she won't benefit from this crit damage buff. Once you have the second exclusive here, it's gonna be awesome thanks to this buff here. Otherwise, I don't recommend to play her before that against boss. Then let's talk about her ultimate. She has a high damage coefficient here, 720% attack damage with a crit rate buff 50% before attacking, and this is really important because that means you don't need a lot of crit rate on her in order to be efficient and deal a lot of damage. This attack can also ignore immortal and damage immunity, which is pretty interesting for the arena in specific cases. If you have the first exclusive on her, you will reduce the cooldown of this skill every time you're gonna land a crit with the basic attack. So with the first exclusive, you don't need a lot of crit rate on her because every time you're gonna use the basic attack, you will lower the cooldown of this skill, and you have only a 4-turn cooldown on this one. If you use her with the counter attack of Catherine, it's gonna work, and if you use her with the pursuit of Ben Austin, it's also gonna work if you land a crit with the basic attack. And so if you use her with Ben Austin and Catherine, then you won't need a lot of crit on her because she will every time crit with the basic attack thanks to this buff here, and so get the cooldown of this skill, which is pretty insane. So now her second skill is an AoE attack. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, so in dungeon, if you have another hero to apply defense down and tenacity down, I recommend to use him instead of her. Otherwise, she is not gonna be great for that because she has only 25 up to 40% chance to lower the defense and the tenacity in AoE by only 30%, which is not that great. For example, I'm using her with AhkTaar, and AhkTaar can lower the defense and the tenacity by 60% in AoE with 85% chance to do it, and so this is why I recommend to block this skill, never use it in dungeon. It's gonna be better to bring a hero that can do that. You have AhkTaar, you also have Amalek, who can do that. Where is he? Amalek can do that in AoE with a 60% chance to do it, so it is better than her, and it's a 60% tenacity and defense down. So if you use Amalek or AhkTaar with her, then it's gonna be great, and you can block this skill right after that. The basic attack, she has a really nice coefficient, 320% attack damage on it. She can inflict severe wound if she lands a crit. She has a 30% chance to inflict severe wound if she lands a crit with this skill. So it's a good one for Gwyneth in dungeon. So pretty interesting. So let's talk about the exclusive. The first one is awesome on her. Where is the first one? Because if you have the first one, you don't have to have a lot of crit rate on her. You will benefit from the cooldown reduction on her ultimate every time she's gonna use the basic attack, and with her ultimate she's gonna buff herself a 50% crit rate, which is pretty huge, and also she will benefit from the 12% crit rate bonus thanks to her passive. So you need only 38% crit rate on her to always land a crit if you use her with Catherine and Ben Austin, because she is always gonna use multiple times her basic attack, reduce the cooldown of her ultimate, and so she will benefit from the 50% bonus crit rate she has here. With the first one, she's gonna be insane. With the second one, she can be insane against bosses because she can benefit from the 100% crit damage bonus. Otherwise, the maximum you can have in a dungeon battle is 2 layers of these, because you have 2 enemies to kill in boss waves. Otherwise, you won't benefit from the 5 layers of low she can have. And on the guild boss, you won't have any layer of low, so the second exclusive is mandatory if you plan to use her against the guild boss. Then the third exclusive is awesome on her because she already does a lot of damage using her ultimate, and it's gonna increase the crit damage she's gonna deal by 70 to 120%. The lower the target's the HP, the higher the crit damage bonus, and this is gonna hit as hell. She's gonna deal a crazy amount of damage with that. So now let's talk about her stats. You need, as I said, 38% crit rate on her, especially if you have the first exclusive. So she is always gonna land a crit with her skills if you use this ultimate first in one battle. Then you need a bit of speed, maybe more than 1600 speed to outspeed all enemies in dungeons level 30. Then you have to max out her attack and her crit damage. You need just a bit of effect hit if you want to rely on the silver wand. Otherwise it's okay, you can use her as a damage dealer in other contents in the game. So 38% crit rate, all in attack and crit damage, and a bit of effect hit. Then let's talk about her gear. Let me push myself. So this is what I'm using on her, only a basic attack set, but I have a lot of interesting substats. What I recommend to use on her, you can use, if you have some attack set, you can use attack set. You can use some crit set if you don't have a crit substats on your gear in order to reach the 38% crit rate on her. You can use one of them. It can be interesting. You can use a crit damage set. Or the best stats I recommend to use on her, you can use maybe this one. You will benefit from the crit rate bonus and the crit damage. Or this one is great also. But you don't need a lot of crit rate on her, so it's better. Don't use these special stuff on her. Use them on your other direct damage dealers. It's gonna be better. You can use this set on her if you want to play her with some leech, but you won't benefit from the attack or the crit damage bonus. So yeah, you can use the crit damage attack set, or this is what I recommend. This is what I recommend, and this is what I'm using. So let's talk about the substat on my gear. On the weapon, I have attack rate, crit damage, which is pretty nice. HP and effect resistance is not needed on her. Then the armor, I have a crit rate, a crit damage, attack rate, and effect hit. This is everything you need on her, so this one is perfect. On the boots, I have crit damage, attack flat, but I have HP and defense, and you don't need HP and defense. Then on the accessory, I have speed, attack rate, crit damage, which is pretty nice, and effect resistance is not needed. Let's talk about the artifacts now. On this one, you want to put crit damage or attack. Flat attack. This is the best you can have on her. I recommend to use crit damage over attack. I think it's better because this is the best way to increase the crit damage, so use that instead of other artifacts here. Some attack rate, attack flat, but then I don't need HP and effect resistance. Then the second artifact, I have an attack one. You don't have many artifacts in here, so this is what I recommend. Attack is the only thing you should put on her here. So I have a crit rate, attack rate, and crit damage speed, so this one is perfect for her. And finally, on the last artifact, I have a speed one, because otherwise I wouldn't reach higher than 1600 speed. This is the reason why I'm using a speed one. I have everything I need on her: crit damage, attack rate, crit rate, and effect hit, so this one is perfect on her. Now let me push myself back to the left and let's talk about her emblems. At the moment I'm using that on her, but maybe I should change and put a support one instead. Let me explain. I have some crit rate and everything that can increase her direct damage and a crit damage here, but here it's increasing my defense on her, lower the dot I receive. I'm gonna heal if one of my ally dies, but I'm not using a revive unit in my team, so it doesn't make sense to use that. I have this one, so I'm gonna take less crit damage on her, and this one to heal herself if she takes too much damage at once. But maybe this one is gonna be better. So what I'm gonna do is do exactly the same here, but use the support one, and then we are gonna see the potential in dungeon. So let me put everything back here. Let me check everything to the left. This is what you want on her, and then let me check. Okay, this one, and this one, and then I want her to be tankier, so probably I'm gonna use this one instead of the effect hit. I'm gonna use this one, so she will take less damage when she has a shield. This one is pretty nice on her. And then let me check. Some effect hit at the beginning of the fight. I don't need that. I'm gonna do that, so she's gonna get more speed every time she's gonna inflict the severe wound. So this one is great, and I'm gonna take this one, so it's gonna reduce the cooldown of her skills, and so she can use more often the ultimate. This one is great on her. And finally here, I'm gonna put not this one. She doesn't inflict attribute debuffs. Not this one, she's not gonna be faster than other enemies. I think I'm gonna use this one. So this is the two kind of sets emblems I recommend to use on her. And personally for this video I'm gonna use this one. Maybe this one is better than the other. And this is the aura I have on her, so this is a legendary one, piercing rate and more attack when she has a shield. It's perfect if you use Catherine with her. But let me give you some tips on the aura you have to use. I don't recommend to use a green aura on her, but you can use not this one. You don't need some crit rate on her, and not this one. You can use this one to increase your direct damage. It's a great one if you want to use a blue one. Then I don't recommend to use the others. Speed you don't need, mastery neither. You don't need HP. You don't need to reduce the damage you're gonna take. If you use enemies with some freeze, it can be interesting for the waves or the arena to get more crit, but you don't need a lot of crit rate on her, so I don't recommend this one. This one can be interesting for the arena in order to inflict more damage to enemies with the countered mark. Otherwise, I don't recommend to use this one neither, this one neither. Maybe this one if you plan to use her in the arena. If she kills someone, she's gonna get increased turn meta, so it can help. This one is the best, purple I recommend to use on her. Crit damage and some crit if she has more than 90% HP. So if you don't have enough crit rate, you can use this one. You will still benefit from the crit damage. And then the aura, legendary aura, only this one. This is the best you can have on her. Okay, so now let me show you some gameplay against Gwyneth. This is the team I'm gonna use. So I have two mythic heroes, Ben Austin and AhkTaar. So this team is requiring a lot of stuff in order to make some damage with Megan. Ben Austin is gonna make her push you, so she's gonna use more often her basic attack and so deal more damage. AhkTaar is here in order to boost her attack by 40% and to lower the defense and the tenacity in AoE by 60%. resistant, and also to control waves. Nicholas is gonna increase her damage with his passive, and he is here to control waves and to provide a shield to my heroes, lower the resistance of the boss, so it's better to it's easier to provide the silver wand on him with Megan. And yeah, let's have a look to the fight. So let me do it in auto. So this is the first wave. I'm buffing my heroes. And as you can see, enemies doesn't have a lot of damage and stats, so it's really easy with her to kill them. Because of the buff I have on her. Otherwise, look at that. She cannot one-shot with all if she don't have all the buffs. This is why I say she is more for endgame players, because she requires a lot of stuff in order to shine. Okay, so boss wave, let's have a look. Pursuits on Luna. Now she is frozen. Slow on enemies. She's dead. Now my heroes are gonna focus Gru, and now only the boss remain. Okay, Silver Wand applied on the boss, so now he won't heal that much. Okay, he doesn't have Silver Wand anymore, so he's gonna heal himself. But now he has the speed reduction, so I can inflict more damage, and he has one more time the Silver Wand. So it's working. As you can see, she deals a crazy amount of damage, but it requires a lot of heroes in order to shine. So it was working. And now let me show you some gameplay in the arena, and then I'm gonna show you some gameplay against the guild boss, because in my opinion she is awesome against the guild boss with her direct damage team. So let's jump into the arena and let's try to find someone to attack with her. Let's try this, and I'm gonna use Megan. Yeah, in my opinion, Megan is not great in top ranking arena, because you have many enemies that can beat you, and she doesn't do enough damage. So let's try with AhkTaar too. Normally this team should do the job. So she is protected by Elix, so even if enemies try to inflict silence on me, it's not gonna work. So I increase my turn meter. Lower the resistance here. Okay, maybe it's gonna be hard to beat this kind of team. Let's try to do that. Lower the speed. Yeah, I'm taking too much damage, and I'm silenced because of Asindo. It's not great. What should I do? Let's try to freeze enemies. Perfect. Let's increase my attack, lower their defense. And now let's try to deal some damage. Buff myself. Shield. Okay, my AhkTaar is dead. I'm gonna lower the speed. I'm gonna lower the turn meter here and try to kill her. Okay, she's dead, so my AhkTaar is back. Now let's lower the resistance of him. Increase my turn meter. Try to stun. Okay, it didn't work. Lower the resistance here. Freeze them. Perfect. Now let's kill Luna. Perfect. Lower the speed. It worked. Perfect. Freeze. Try to kill the panda first. Lower the turn meter. Buff. Lower the defenses. Okay. It's pretty nice. He is removing all my buffs because I'm attacking him and he has the counter attack on him, so it's not that great. So let's lower the turn meter of Asindo and try to kill her. Okay, let's freeze. let's try to, yeah, let's kill Asindo. Increase my turn meta. Freeze. Lower the resistance. Fine. Do that. Try to kill her. Only the Pauline remaining, so it's pretty nice. So it's working, but it's hard. I mean, you have better teams than that, okay? So now let me show you some gameplay against the guild boss number 5. She is pretty awesome for this kind of content, and my Megan has only 2 exclusive. If she had 3 exclusive, she would deal way more damage using the ultimate. So look at this, 1,700,000 using the ultimate. And using the basic attack, she's gonna deal an insane amounts of damage. But in order to deal a lot of damage, you need these kind of heroes. I have AhkTaar with defense down, tenacity down on the boss, attack buff 40% on her. I have 2 legendary auras that can increase her damage. The one on AhkTaar is inflicting this debuff on the boss that increases his damage received by 16%. My Ben Austin is increasing her damage by 12% thanks to this buff, thanks to his aura. It's pretty insane. You need a crazy amount of stuff in order to make her shine. 2 million damage, 1 million with the basic attack. She is insane for that. But remember one thing. She is gonna do a lot of damage by her own, but she will do less damage than other heroes. So she is great in here because she also increases the overall damage of your other DPS by increasing passively their crit rate by 12%, which is pretty insane. So let me accelerate the run until the end. Let me check. So this is the final result. As I said, she deals a lot of damage, but still less than the best DPS in the game. 120 million, she deals a lot of damage. Maybe I would have reached 80 million damage with the 3rd exclusive, but you have to take into consideration that she gives 12% crit rate to AhkTaar and Lucia, and this is why they dealt this amount of damage. Otherwise, she wouldn't reach this high amount of damage. So that was all for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If it's the case, as usual, please like, comment and subscribe, and then see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Infinite Magicraid. Play to slay.